Happy Sunday. What's up, sports fans and fantasy folks? It's your boy Dino's the Fantasy Gurus. My apologies. I am having some difficulties with my equipment today. My camera doesn't like me apparently. So we're just going to have to do audio. I'm about 10 minutes late. And so we won't get to go through today's slate and recap the games. We'll do a quick injury update. If you're not aware, if you have Drake London in your lineup, you want to get him out. He has been ruled out for today. Darnell Mooney will be the WR1 for the Falcons, as well as Penix is also out today for the Falcons. Kirk Thuggins gets the start. If you watch the fantasy show No Balls, No Glory on Thursday evening, I did mention that I had a sneaky suspicion that the Dolphins would somehow beat the Falcons. And apparently, with basically half their offense out, the Dolphins have a chance to win this game. Now, as far as fantasy implications, I wouldn't say it go start Tua in this spot, but just understand that the Falcons' offensive players are going to have a reduced production day. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. He hasn't played since last year. And when he did play last year, granted, the Achilles injury, he only had two good games, and those two games were against the Buccaneers, who were ultimately the NFC South champions. Another note, I did release a short this week chronicling Justin Fields' possibly switching positions. Apparently, the Jets brass were not impressed with my take and decided to start him at quarterback this week. He's going against the Bengals. I believe that game is in the Meadowlands. I don't know what to expect. He possibly could have more than 45 yards passing. I mentioned this in my preseason show. To avoid the Jets in fantasy this year, it was not going to be a good season for the Jets, and that is holding true. The guru was correct. We are in week 8. Brees Hall has 0 touchdowns. Let me say that one more time. It is week 8. The starting running back for the New York Jets, Brees Hall, has just as many touchdowns as I have. Nothing. Moving on to other news and notes, the Houston Texans are also banged up. They will be missing Nico Collins today. Again, that would be a wide receiver character I would touch. If anybody you want to pick from that group, I would go with Dalton Schultz if he's still available. I know he's not a wide receiver, but you can use him in flex. I know someone asked me this morning, how do you negotiate injuries and whatnot, being that it's Byemagedon, which we all knew this was coming. If you have an injured player, this is just if you don't know this for the beginning fantasy players, if you have an injured player and you're not sure if he's going to start, you place him in your flex position. So if he comes to game day and he doesn't play, you now can place another wide receiver, a running back, or a tight end in that slot, versus leaving him in a RB or a wide receiver slot, and you're stuck trying to scramble and find the backup. Little gamesmanship. If the person you're playing is also watching your roster and your injury updates, and the shrewd move is to go and pick up the backup so you can't go grab him. Another little tip. Just checking the time. I know kickoff is about 15 minutes away. I'll leave this stream up if anybody's there. I know I didn't do a thumbnail. My apologies. We'll do better next week. If you have any start-sit questions, I'll respond in real time, and that will give you time to adjust your lineups. So I will keep this stream open until noon kickoff. If you have any start-sit questions, other news and notes across the fantasy world. Will the Giants sweep the Eagles? Now, A.J. Brown is out this week. If you have Devontae Smith, you should be smiling right now. I have about 3 shares of him. I'm not quite sure what to make of Saquon Barkley. I did mention that Brees Hall has 0 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, I believe, only has 2. And this is week 8. 2 touchdowns for Saquon Barkley, who in many drafts went in the top 10, has yet to hit 100 yards. And I know all of the betting lines have him going over today. I believe the prop bet is 88.5. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. He's only hit 85 yards once this season, and that was week 1. So I don't know. It could happen today with A.J. Brown out. They may actually lean on the run a little bit more and try to keep Scatterboo and Dart on the sidelines. Now, I mentioned that game is in Philly. It's not in New York. I still believe it'll be a close game. It won't be a blowout. I believe the Eagles will win. I believe Jalen Hurts will have a decent game. He not silently, but quietly had a very good fantasy season. I am happy that I decided to go the route of Jalen Hurts versus the route of Jaden Daniels, who has been, quite honestly, a fantasy dud, similar to C.J. Stroud's second year in the league. He has come crashing back to earth. Yes, he's had injuries, but even when he hasn't had injuries, he has not looked the same as he did in the previous year. As I also mentioned in my pre-draft shows, you can't base current year off previous year in most cases. For those who are joining, welcome to the show. This is going to be a quick stream. We're just going to keep this open. You don't see me, but I am here. I had some issues with my camera. Hopefully, I'll get that resolved for the next show, and then you'll see my ugly mug once again. The Bills are on a 2-game losing streak, and they were playing the Panthers in Carolina today. Ordinarily, you would say, oh, it's a trap game. I don't even believe this is a trap game. I believe Carolina will actually stay in this game because the Bills' defense is so atrocious. Josh Allen, Superman hate isn't Supermaning this year as much as it has in the past because their lack of wide receiver depth. They never went out and truly addressed their wide receiver position. I know they had Cooper last year, who was kind of an afterthought, and I never thought Shakir was a true number 1 anyhow. I thought he would be a good complementary receiver. But the Keon Coleman thing, I don't know. It's just not working out. It's just not working out for Buffalo. So teams are basically saying, hey, Josh, go ahead and throw it. We're just going to try to take James Cook off the game and just see what he can do. And of late, he hasn't been coming through. And Cook's numbers have kind of fell off a cliff the last few weeks because of the adjustment by the defenses. Let's see if we got any other juicy matchups. We do have a lot of divisional games. I know the late game, Broncos and Cowboys, that should be a good game. I know about 4 weeks ago you wouldn't have said that with the way the Cowboys defense was playing, but the Cowboys offense is humming. They're at full strength. I seen them live last week, as I mentioned. So we basically have the number 1 offense going against the number 2 defense, and that usually turns out to be a pretty entertaining game. As far as fantasy is concerned, I don't expect much from the Broncos backfield. Nix should have a pretty good game. I would start him if you have him. I know the Cowboy defense is cheeks. They have played a little bit better the past few games, including last week against the Commanders, but they can only hold the line for so long. That back end is terrible. They don't have little to no pass rush, so the receivers for Broncos should have an easy go of it. Flipping on the other side for the Cowboys offense, now that CeeDee Lamb is the second week back, you have Pickens cooking, and you have Jake Ferguson, and they're pretty loaded. So the thing about the receivers for Dallas, they're not one-trick ponies. They can stretch the field or they can go underneath and they get rack yards. So it's like a 1 and 1A. Pickens showed that he can actually be a true number 1 in this league while CeeDee Lamb was out with the injury. So those of you who drafted Pickens, congratulations, you have chosen wisely. I opted to pass on George Pickens based on what I've seen in the past and the fact that CeeDee had such a lion's share of the targets in that offense. Another notable game, of course, is the revenge game. It's Ron playing the Packers. No, it's not in Lambeau, but he's still playing the Packers. That also should be a good game. That is actually the Sunday night game. This game, I believe, can go either way. The Packers are just like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's like one week they look like Super Bowl contenders. The next week they look like they may not even make the playoffs. So it all depends on which Packer team shows up. I expect a good game out of Rodgers. I believe he does throw for over 200 yards and about 2 touchdowns. Now, who catches those touchdowns? It's probably going to be one of those tight ends of the 3 of Jonnu, Washington, and Frymuth. It'll be one of those tight ends, or maybe Jaylen Warren. I know Jacobs has been kind of dinged up the past couple of weeks. Christian Watson is back from IR after the ACL tear last year. And with him, he is similar to the other Packers receivers. You never know who's going to catch the ball. You never know who's going to get the targets. So he's another mystery. You can roll the dice. I would wait a week, wait and see. Let's see how he performs first week, because I know George Kittle came back from his injury last week for the 49ers and threw up a bagel. He looked healthy, but for some reason he had no catches. So Christian Watson had to send the production today. So proceed with caution. Now, here's a team that's in trouble. This is going back to the Thursday night game. The Vikings fucked up, and I've mentioned this to folks before. I have a devout Vikings fan at my job, and we gonna have a discussion this week about his team. So they basically had Sam Darnold, who shown he could do the job, and he's doing the job for another team this year. They also had, which a lot of people aren't mentioning, they had Daniel Jones, aka Indiana Jones. I know a lot of you forgot that he was there as a backup. They picked him up when the Giants let him go last season. So you could have kept one or two of those quarterbacks as an insurance policy. And instead, you decided to pick up our favorite fantasy vampire / zombie. I keep calling him vampire. Damn. Fantasy zombie, Carson Wentz, who was playing injured, also had no O-line protection. So the question is now with the Vikings, when does J.J. McCarthy come back? I mean, he had the high ankle sprain, I believe, week 2. We're going into week 9. And clearly Wentz was not 100%. If we don't see McCarthy next week, then there's something really, really going on in Minnesota that they're not talking about. I'll tell you that much. For somebody, you basically let go of 2 solid quarterbacks, 2 proven quarterbacks, although one was kind of half proven. And Daniels, you let them walk for the rookie, and you went all in on this rookie, and it's not looking good in Minnesota. I know they've had injuries. However, in that division, you couldn't afford to make that type of mistake. All right, Sid. With this Byemagedon, we got 6 teams on bye, so that's we're down 3 games. We're down 3 games, so this slate is going to be really light this week. All right, so I'm going to leave the stream open for another 5 minutes or so, right up until noon kickoff. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My apologies for no video. I hope my audio is coming in nice and good. This is week 8, aka Byemagedon. Recap the injuries really quick. Falcons, no Drake London, no Penix. Justin Fields gets the stars for the Jets. For the Ravens, no Axon Jackson. Snoop Hundley gets the start. I already talked about the Falcons. No major injuries for the Panthers or the Bills. For the Texans, no Nico Collins. He's out with a concussion. Of course, no Mixon and no Christian Kirk. For the Eagles, no A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is out today. I know he has some shenanigans in the media with his tweets. Keep an eye on that situation. I'm sure it's going to evolve as the weeks go on. Browns and Patriots, no notable injuries in this game. That dumpster fire called Travion Henderson. I did forget to mention this. They did call up a running back from the practice squad from New England, which is peculiar. It's like, interesting. So is the Travion Henderson experience over before it begins? We will find out today. Depending on how those carries get dealt out, if that experience is over. And I feel your pain for all those who drafted Travion Henderson, because I'm one of those guys. Next game, we got the Bucs and the Saints. We already know who's out for the Bucs. Pretty much half of their offense. We got Evans out, Bucky Irvin out, Chris Godwin out. Rashad White gets another start. Ibuka is back. Hopefully that hammy is okay. That should be a pretty good game. You know, those divisional games that they're never dull. Teams that play each other multiple times a year are always entertaining. So I would not expect a blowout, even though the Saints are 1-6. This is actually going to be a competitive game. Titans and Colts, same thing here. Damn, the spread is 14.5. Yikes. It's probably going to be another JT day for the Colts. And I couldn't even tell you anything about anybody fantasy-wise. Tennessee, another team I said avoid in your drafts this year for fantasy. The Jets and the Titans, I said you want no pieces of anyone. The only one possibly I would have taken would have been Calvin Ridley from the Titans. And that's all based on if him and Cam Ward develop some kind of rapport. Again, this is fantasy, so it doesn't matter how much they get their ass beat. It's all about production. So I just foreseen a lot of garbage time points from those two, and that has yet to materialize. I did mention the Cowboys and Broncos. I did mention the Packers and Steelers. So the last tilt for the week is the Commanders and Chiefs. Marcus Mariota gets a start. Jaden Daniels is out with the hammy, which I saw live last week. It's probably my fault. My apologies to the Commanders Nation. Pacheco has been coming on a bit, but so has this Brashard Smith. Brashard Smith would be an interesting get on waivers if he's still available in your leagues. He's been getting a little bit more production as the weeks have gone on, especially in the passing game. I know Kareem Hunt right now is the number 2. He's primarily the goal line back. So in the standard league, I would prefer to have Kareem Hunt over Brashard Smith. But if it's PPR format, I would go for Brashard Smith. For the Commanders, Mariota, he does get some help back. Scary Terry makes his reappearance in offense, and Deebo Samuel comes back from the heel injury this week. The Chiefs will still win this game handily. I don't anticipate them having any problems with the Commanders this week. All right, 2 minutes to go before kickoff. Byemagedon, let's get through this shit. I pretty much anticipated losing all of my matchups this week, but so far I'm in a good position in all of my leagues. I hope you are as well. The weather has finally changed. It is now fall weather. I'm excited. I hope you are too. One more minute, and I don't see any comments. Please watch the replay. This will be available on YouTube in about 5 minutes or so after kickoff. Good luck today, folks. This is your boy Dino's the Fantasy Guru, and I'm out.